Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Sam's Little 33 here, and welcome to another episode of Mix Up. And today we're going to be talking about the new Stoutland from Boundaries Crossed. As you can see here, I have a playset of them, so I do actually have the cards this time. Woot woot. Anyway, Stoutland, definitely a very interesting card. Of course, it's not exactly the fastest Pokemon, and that's what's bringing it down. People saying it's easy to stop it from getting out, and it's easy to get out of the thing, but of the Sentinel ability. But I think it was definitely a very interesting idea, and I definitely really liked the idea when I first thought of it. But how much do I like it now that I've actually played with the deck and seen how it runs? Well, find out right here on Mix Up.
So, time to look at the old dog himself, Stoutland. Stoutland has 140 HP, a fighting weakness, and 3 retreat. The HP is pretty good. It won't be getting one-shot by much, unless they're hitting for weakness. Speaking of, its fighting weakness can be a problem, especially since its basic form can be donked by Landers EX, which is definitely one of the most hyped cards at the moment. Its retreat is pretty bulky. This would be a bigger problem if not for the fact that its ability only works if he's in the active spot, so it would not be a desired catcher target. It's the only form in its evolution with 3 or more retreat cost, and none of the Pokemon that combo well with it have 3 or more retreat cost, so he doesn't really gain anything from its high retreat either. Its attack would be alright if it was a basic or EX, but compared to things like Apollyon and Garchomp, it's nothing too great. For 3 colorless energy, it does 90 damage and you flip a coin. If tails, he takes 20 damage. Once again, its ability is where the magic is. Sentinel states that if Stoutland is in the active, your opponent can't play any supporters. This ability could be game-breaking on the right Pokemon, but Stoutland is not one of those Pokemon. Instead, it just looks alright. Stoutland does have a few things going for it, though. It can take advantage of Espresso City Gym, which gives him some really nice HP of 160. Stoutland also has a long list of stellar pre-evolutions. One Lillipup has a draw 1 card attack, another allows you to pick up an item from your discard and put it in your hand, another has an attack that makes your opponent switch to active with any of their bench Pokemon. There are some pretty good courtiers as well. One allows you to draw 3 whole cards for 2 energy, and another does the Pokemon Circulator thing the one Lillipup does. Tornadus EX can also easily fit into any Stoutland deck, as you already run double Corliss Energy and Espresso City Gym, which also gives you some assurance against Landers EX. There is another Stoutland that could come in handy, I guess. That one allows you to flip 3 coins, and for each heads, you put a card from your discard pile into your hand. So then let's take a look at the list I've been using Stoutland. Some of these cards obviously need explanation. Ho-Oh EX and the multicolored energy are very odd. They're mostly there just in case you can't get an attacker set up due to lack of energy. Ho-Oh can just be set up at 1 turn and deal some decent damage. It also helps against Landers EX because it also has fighting resistance. Victory Star Victini is to help with Wild Tackle's recoil damage. None of the Pokemon in this deck are searched out by the situational balls such as Level Ball and Heavy Ball, except for pre-evolutions, so Ultra Ball kinda needs to be maxed out. Since Stoutland does that magic 90 damage that Eviolite loves to block 2 KOs from, Tool Scrapper was added. It can also help against Garbodor. The supporter count is 4 Juniper, 4 Charen, 2 Ann, 2 Skyla, and 2 Random Receiver. N is kind of a 2-sided coin in this deck. Your opponent will most likely not be using supporters of their own for most of the time, so N can help them get a new hand in an early enough state of the game. But it's also more destructive in this deck than any other. If you can end your opponent down to 2, 3, or even 4, and not allow them just to Juniper their way back into the game, it can put them in a very bad position. You can take out some of the Charons for more of them if you want, but I think if you put too many in, you'll be using it enough of the time to keep your opponent in the game. So what has my testing found out exactly? I have deduced that Stoutland is pretty good. Tornadus EX is phenomenal as an early game attacker, as I'm sure you're aware. Opponent's lack of supporters was very helpful, and I didn't have too hard time evolving Stoutland. One of the problems I had was getting enough energies onto Stoutland, so I was stuck with either attacking with Tornadus EX and allowing my opponent to set up, or send up Stoutland and not do any damage that turn. I tried out another variant of the deck, which was focused on mostly using Stoutland. Here was the list. The EXP shares are to help with your limited energy acceleration, since you won't be walling behind Tornadus EX for too long. None of your Pokemon need anything other than colorless energy, so any of the basic energy will work equally well. You could pick something to try to bluff a possible tech like Terrakion or Shaman EX, or a plethora of different energies to bluff Ho-Oh EX, or just put the one with the shortest name so it's easy to write on your deck list. This one worked about the same. I wasn't getting quite as much damage on the field either side, but I did seem to stop people's setups more often. I was going to try out Hooligan's Jim and Cass in the deck, but I didn't have time to before I made this episode. Do I think Stoutland has any chance at cities? Probably not. Do I think it's unplayable? Absolutely not. The deck is fun and can be deadly if you get an early Stoutland. Definitely test this deck out, try to find the right combination of Stoutland and Tornadus EX, maybe add some Disruption as well. It's definitely a fun deck you need to try out at least once.
And that's going to do it for today's episode. First of all, I'd like to thank, or not thank anyone, but I'd say happy Thanksgiving to everyone, since that was just yesterday when I'm posting this. At least all of you, and I think it's just an American holiday, if I remember correctly. But yeah, all of you people celebrating that, hope you had a happy Thanksgiving. I definitely did. That's part of the reason why this video is going to be up a little late, because I was spending some time with my family and, you know, didn't have that much time to edit this episode, even though it was really short. But yeah, just the way things go. It's the way video making go. And also, cities have started up, and if you don't know what decks have been doing well, first, the decks are doing well. Blastoise Keldeo doing pretty well. Darkrai Hydreigon's doing pretty well. Rayquaza Electric is still doing pretty well. In the same fashion it always is, where it's like every time you see it in a top cut, it always is like winning, because it has the most wins right now. And there's also plenty of Landers EX decks running around. So also a couple of my main man Dusknoir. Yeah, it's doing pretty well. Not that well. I think there was a Empoleon Silgor that won one of the cities, and there was a Flygon Dusknoir deck that made top 4, which is just ridiculous. I don't know how that could possibly work, but anyway, yeah, that's cities for you. So next time on Mix Up, I'm honestly not exactly sure what to try out. Oh wait, no, I'm stupid. I have an idea, and I actually have a new part of the show to introduce to you this episode, where basically I'm going to give you the deck that I'm going to be making for next week, and see if you guys have any ideas to make it better and, you know, still kind of interesting. So for example, the next episode will be all about the new Jellicent from Boundaries Cross, which I forgot to cover because I misread its ability as being if it only works in the active, which is terrible. But, you know, it works from the bench. So in a second I'll show you the list of my new Darkrai Jellicent deck, and you guys can tell me, you know, what attackers you think would be good in it, and, you know, all that kind of stuff. So thanks for watching, and here's the list.